So I guess everyone are here. So we can start with the class. So wherein we're going to talk about the approach and the perspectives of geography. So as we discuss about this topic, so may I know how many are there over here waiting for this? Can you hear me and just say hi? Hello, am I audible? Yes, thank you. So I'm just in confusion whether I'm audible or not. So thank you very much. So shall we start with the class? Yes. Yes. Yes, good evening everyone. So today we are going to discuss about the approach and preparation for this subject called geography. So how has it been prepared? I mean, how are we supposed to do this subject and all? We are going to discuss. So as we discuss, you can just also put good amount of doubts as we move further. So I'll give you a chance to put your doubts so that we can discuss in the session itself. So how many of you are very new to this preparation of UPSC exam and all? So have you ever been prepared? Do you have any idea with regard to this preparation and all? So you can just type your answers. Okay. So moving on. So I'm not getting any answers as of now. So I guess you're taking some time. Fine. I'll just move on into the subject, so the topic, so that we can have a detailed discussion. And if you have any doubts and queries, at the end of this session, we can have good amount of Q&As. So put good amount of questions. Good evening, everyone. So good evening, Bhaskar. Okay. So now, what is this exam all about? So in this session, as I move further, I'm going to talk about these areas. See, what is geography? Hello. Okay. Hmm? Oh, sorry. Okay, thank you. So small amount of disturbance. Sorry for that. So, what is this geography, and what are we supposed to do in this subject of geography? So, as a subject, as a subject, I'm sorry. Okay. Still, so let's discuss. So, as a subject, subject where what is geography? The study of Earth is considered to be as geography, isn't it? So, apart from the study of Earth, there are other few terminologies which have been discussed by many of the geographers in the past. So, it says that based on our NCRTs and all, it says that description of Earth as the abode of human being. So, even geography can be described in many ways. So, yes, we are describing this Earth, which is an abode for human beings. So, why are we supposed to study this subject called geography? Is it very important for us? See, this is a subject where we as human beings are living on the surface of the earth and are dependent on the resources available on this earth's body. So the resources which are available are again dependent on the climatical conditions, the landforms, and the oceans and the water bodies which are present on this earth and surrounding this earth. So because of which, I mean, every resource is interdependent. So because of which, and we are dependent on resources. So because of which, we are supposed to study the subject called geography. Now, this study of Earth as a subject, which is also naming it, I mean, which is also described as description of Earth as the abode of human beings, has got our diversified fields wherein it is a subject where it has got diversifications. I mean, the subject geography has diversification into biology, into physics, into chemistry, into economics, into history. So everything. Yeah, thank you. So it is not a subject which is very much independent subject which we have studied in our schooling as something like a social studies and all. But this is a subject which has got a varied forms. So it is an interdisciplinary approach is very much required for preparation of this subject called geography. And in this interdisciplinary approach of geography, see, for our exam, that is for UPSC Civil Service exam, we have got both this thing, that is prelims as well as mains. But for prelims, in our syllabus of prelims, it has got a one single line saying it as India and the world geography, which includes the physical, social, economic geography of India and the world. So it's just it just talks about a single line. But as we dig into this single line, what does it say? See, it is talking about both India and the world, that is physical, social, economic geography. What is this physical? So, the physical properties which are observed on the Earth's surface, isn't it? So, what are the physical properties like mountains, lakes, plains, valleys, ocean waters? Everything comes under this physical forms. And we have also seen, I mean, it is also talking about the social and economic. What is the social and economic? Social, wherein the mankind as a human being, I mean, this human being is now settling on this earth, and this person as a human being is dependent on the earth's body and dependent on very much on the resources and all. And he's trying to live as a social being where he's trying to live not as an independent body, he is interdependent and he is being in a society, isn't it? So, wherein as to how he's living, what are the patterns of his living, what does he eat, where does he live, what is his method of employment, or what is his methods of eating habits, his cultures, everything have been discussed in this topic of social geography. And then economic geography. What is this? It is economics. So wherein give and take. So what is happening? Let's say a person who is living across a region which has got large amount of iron ore, and a person who is residing across a region where there is large amount of grains, that is whether it be a rice or it be wheat. So what do? They in exchange of food, they exchange iron ore. So in exchange of iron ore, they exchange this thing called rice. So there is an exchange of goods. So what is happening? It's nothing but exchange of resources. So resources are not in equally spread across the entire world. So they have been only across few regions. So only few resources are available across few regions, and few resources are available across few regions. So there is a difference of availability of resources and all. So now in this thing, every resource is available across different regions, and mankind need all these resources, whether it be food grains, whether it be mineral resources, whatever it be. So in exchange, what do? There is a good amount of exchange. So wherein, let's say now, in detail as we talk, economic geography includes topics like the primary sector, the secondary sector, tertiary sector, wherein you got to see crops, and for this crops to grow, we need water, and for this water to arrive, there should be a proper amount of physical conditions, that is your atmospheric conditions and all. And the moment we have good amount of water and we have good amount of crops, what do we have now? Yes, we have a chance to grow them, and those grown crops, can we eat it directly? No, we cannot. So they are again supposed to get into industry wherein they have been processed. So after processing, now there is huge amount of food which is now obtained after the processed food. Now this processed food should be shared within the community, or should be shared within the society. Now what is happening? There is a methodology called transportation. And for all these things, to establish an industry and to have a good amount of transportation, you need to have again few more resources, like the mineral resources, the energy resources. Yes. So all these resources combined together, and to have a good amount of setup of industry, and to have a good amount of setup of transportation and all, comes under this topic called economic geography. And now this subject geography as a part in your prelims, we're going to discuss few topics like the physical geography, which includes the land, which includes atmosphere, that is air around us. We also talk about the water around us. And as we know about this land, water, and air, we are also talking about few topics like as to how living beings are settling across that regions, and how they are dependent on all these things. And then the living beings across that region, as to how they are living, that is which is talked about in social geography. That is again, we have economic geography, wherein as to how they have been producing and how they have been living across that regions. So in this manner, yes, India in this topic of geography, in preliminary exam, we're going to have physical, social, economic geography of India and the world. But this is not a single line. We are going to have a very detailed topic and detailed subject which is supposed to be discussed. And then in mains, see, these are the topics which are in GS1, General Studies 1, wherein in General Studies 1 we have different topics like history, society, and geography. And geography is a third part in this GS1. So wherein this talks about the distribution of key natural resources across the world, including South Asia and Indian subcontinent. So what are the key natural resources? There are many key natural resources, like right, availability of coal, availability of iron ore, availability of groundwater, which is all your resources. So where are these resources available? So the key natural resources across the world have been discussed, and you're supposed to know about all these things. And then what are the factors responsible for the location of primary, secondary, and tertiary sector? What is this primary? Which includes the agriculture and mining. Secondary, which includes industries. Tertiary, which includes the service sectors. So across various parts in the world, including India. And then we have important geophysical phenomena, which is like earthquakes, tsunamis, the volcanic activities, cyclones, and all. So we'll be discussing about all these things, and then the syllabus talks about the geographical features and their location, changes in critical geographic features, including the water bodies, ice caps, the flora and fauna, and all. So this is a syllabus in for your mains. But even though we know about this geography as a subject which has got in prelims as well as mains, for preparation and for the methodology for preparation, is it one and the same? Is it separate? See, for this subject geography, there is no compartmentalization for prelims separately and main separately. We cannot compartmentalize, or we cannot separate them, differentiate them. See, as a subject, we are supposed to study the subject as a whole, as one subject, that is geography, wherein the geography includes the physical geography, the social geography, economic geography, both of your India and the world. Wherein it in this means we have a detailed parts wherein it is also talking about, it is discussing about separate points, saying that key natural resources, the primary and secondary tertiary sectors, the geophysical phenomena, which are all discussed in physical geography, social geography, economic geography parts. And for this exam, for UPSC Civil Service exam, we are not going to discuss, or we are not going to learn the subject in a separate manner. We are going to bunch them all together and read as a one complete subject, and wherein we are not going to differentiate between prelims and mains. And this subject geography, for this, normally we are very much aware, wherein the NCRTs, the central syllabus books, which are very much important. So the books which are very much important are The Earth, Our Habitat, Our Environment of Class 7, Class 8, Resource and Development, The Contemporary of India 1, Contemporary of India 2, Fundamentals of Physical Geography, Fundamentals of Human Geography, India, People and Economy. So these are all different books of NCRT which are required for our preparation for geography as a subject, for both for prelims as well as mains. And see, keep it in mind, saying that if you can read this class 6 to 12 once, but this books like class 11 and 12, these are very much important books, saying that you're supposed to read twice or thrice, and also you're supposed to make good amount of notes out of this topics which are in class 11 and 12. Okay. And then see, it is, moving further, the other books which are required are the Certificate Physical and Human Geography, Oxford School Atlas, the Economic Survey, and India book. See, I'm also talking about having this book called Economics, reading book called Economic Survey and India book. Why? See, this is a book which is very much important for our general studies mains, economy part, as well as for prelims. But there are few topics in Economic Survey which are very much important in a geographical perspective. We are supposed to learn good amount of topics because there are good amount of questions which are related with regard to economic survey, whether it be for prelims as well as for mains. Geographical perspective, which are from economic surveys, and then we are supposed to have, a few topics to be read from India book. Every year we'll be having this India book. So reading this India book is also a compulsory thing. And if you have got this book called Certificate Physical and Human Geography by G.C. Leong, and I'll show you those books. And in this book, you are not asked to read the entire chapters, but there are only few chapters to be read, and there are few chapters which are to be left off. Because not every chapter in this book or not every page in this book is very much necessary. And moving further, see, what is the approach and how are we supposed to study? Let's say now, this subject called geography, which has got, what do you say, a very tricky subjects like physical geography, economic geography, social geography, and all. These topics are very much not only factual in nature, they're also analytical in nature, wherein there are good amount of concepts in physical geography where we are supposed to have a very good amount of understanding on the subject called uh, what is this, physical geography. A clear cut conceptual understanding is very much required. See, we normally read good amount of books, but it does not suffice to clear this exam. What is more required is to understand the concept between the lines. So that is very much important. See, if you talk about this topics like fundamentals of physical geography and all, India physical environment, there are good amount of topics which are conceptual in nature, and the conceptual understanding is very much important in dealing this with the subject. And see, what is the importance of atlas? So what atlas are we supposed to get? So we are supposed to get this Oxford School Atlas, as well as we are also, I mean, if possible, you can also get this Orient Black Swan Atlas, whichever. But both the atlas, getting both the atlas is also good, because Oxford School Atlas deals with good amount of world geography, and Orient Black Swan, there is another book which is an Atlas, Orient Black Swan Atlas, which deals with good amount of Indian geography perspectives. So you're supposed to have, you can have both these atlases. Apart from reading these NCERTs and all, mapping is the most important thing. Why mapping? See, every year in your preliminary examination, at least one or two questions from map pointing has been asked, and that too, everything is contemporary in nature. Yeah. So whatever is there in the news, you're supposed to do with the newspapers. I mean, you're supposed to collect good amount of current affairs, and then whichever the country or a location, a geographical location is and was in use, you're supposed to collect good amount of data, and you're supposed to go through your atlas as to what are the neighboring things and neighboring geographical phenomena or neighboring countries, neighboring features across that region. So this UPSC is asking in such a way that you're supposed to have very good amount of understanding on the conceptual matter as well as good amount of factual data. So mapping is factual, isn't it? Yes. So factuals are also important. And then in your academic survey, there are few topics which are very much related to mains, not for prelims. For prelims, that plays a very little amount of role, but for mains, this academic survey is playing a greater amount of role. I'll just give you a few examples as we move on. See, in academic survey, there are few questions in the past. Let's say now, discuss the factors for the localization of agro-based food processing industries of Northwest India. Or let's say now there is one more question. Okay, am I audible? Hello. Can you just type? I mean, give me a answer whether I'm audible or not. So some of you are telling me that I'm not audible. Okay. I'm audible, right? Okay. Thank you. Okay, thank you. See, uh, I guess because of the small glitches which has happened with regard to this audio problem and all, I guess you may not have a very good. If you are not able to get the complete understanding, if you can just tell me in your text, I mean, in your chat, so that I can help you out. So if you are clear until now, or you are not clear until now, whatever it is, please text me so that I'll be. See, even I was just tensed because my audio is not good. So doing this after a long time, so that's the reason why I got some small glitches. If at all, if you have any issue, please text me. So feel free, you can just chat with me so that I can move further. So that I see that yes, everyone are good and happy. See, uh, okay, I didn't receive any answers until now. Okay, fine. I'll be moving. See, this subject, geography, wherein normally, okay, thank you. Normally, everyone deals with this subject, and you are supposed to study the subject and all. But the methodology of preparation differs from person to person. I mean, this is a very easy subject. I'll discuss about those things. Yes, Mr. Vinith. Yeah, I'll talk about. See, this is a subject which is very much easy subject, a very easy subject. Given that if you have a proper amount of resources, see, normally in the market we have n number of resources for preparation, and normally as a student we get confused and preparation and all as to what to read, what not to read, how to read, what which are the lines which are important and all. But what we are supposed to have is a crystal clear thought with regard to the syllabus first. So, with regard to the syllabus, as we have just seen, see, it says that India and the world, geography, physical, social, economic. Geography of both India and the world. But the major problem arises now is what includes physical, what includes social, what includes economic. See, in physical, as I've discussed, as I told you, in physical geography, what are the major topics and what are the major subtopics which are supposed to be dealt in? See, it's something like this. I'll just tell you. In physical geography, you're supposed to talk about land. You're supposed to read about land. You're supposed to read about the air around us. You're supposed to read about water around us. The three things, three major things: land, air, water. Fine. Within this three, what are the subtopics? Let's say now, if it is land, what does this land includes? Land includes land includes any answers? Mountains, plains, plateaus, valleys, gorgeous, isn't it? So these are your major landforms which are seen on the Earth's body or the landmass. But this formation of all these features, the landform features, occurs in different forms. It might form because of volcanic eruption. It might form because of earthquakes, isn't it? So there are different geophysical activities for the formation of all these landforms, whether it be mountain, whether it be a plain, whether it be a plateau and all. And then, see, the beauty is of this subject, I mean, in this geography, specifically if you talk about this land as a form, which is talked about this in a topic called geomorphology. See, mountains have been built. So how are mountains been built? Mountains are the one which are built because of the endogenic forces and the forces which are coming from the inside the earth. But over the period, over the years, the mountains which have been built gets eroded, gets lowered down because of different activities, because of the exogenic forces. What are these exogenic forces? We have sun, we have rainfall. I mean, we have seen good amount of water flowing across different regions. So because of which there is good amount of weathering activity, wherein because of the weathering, the particles, the soil particles, or the particles which are on the land, whether it be a rocky particle or a sandy particles, they have been transported from one region to another region. So what is happening? Yes, the one which is formed, the feature, the geophysical, I mean, geographical feature, whether it be a hill or a mountain which has been formed, has been eroded. That gets denuded. So during this process, even mankind is also been affected. I mean, mankind is getting benefited at times, and mankind is also getting affected at times. Is it so? Yes. See, let's say now, I mean, I'll just take the contemporary issue. We are hearing about the flooding in Assam. As the state of Assam is under floods. Why the state of Assam is in flooding condition? Because the river Brahmaputra is flowing above its levels, that is above its natural leaves. Or I can take a talk about the river banks. Above its river banks, the river Brahmaputra is flowing. There is large amount of water entering into the path of the river Brahmaputra across Assam. Why? One of the reason is heavy amount of rainfall across the region. See, as you are listening to this session, you can also just type, you can also answer along with me. So I'll be happy that you are getting something. So one is because of excessive amount of rainfall which is occurring across the region, and apart from that, even before the rainfall, there is good amount of water which is flowing in river Brahmaputra because of global warming. There is melting of glaciers from the Himalayan stretches. So whatever the ice which has been melting off from the Himalayan regions, everything is getting poured down the slope of your hill and a mountain and has been collected into the smaller rivers, I mean the tributaries, and all those tributaries come and gather into form across the regions, form into a larger river. They have been collected. So there is large amount of water which has been collected into the river Brahmaputra. So one is because of global warming, that is because of your melting of glaciers and all. And added to that, this is a monsoon time wherein there is large amount of water which is flowing into this river of Brahmaputra. So what is happening because of which the amount of water levels across the river Brahmaputra has got increased much further, and which has inundated the nearby regions. So all the regions, I mean, the recent news says that out of the 33 districts in Assam, almost 26 districts of Assam have been flooded, inundated, they got affected. So during this process, I mean, during this flooding of Brahmaputra and all, what is happening? First of all, the mountains which have been built, it's not the phenomena with regard to water and all, it has been built in the past. So the mountains which have been built have been weathering or are getting weathered off, and they've been eroding. So why is that getting weathered off? The rock particles across the region is weathering because of melting of glaciers, and because of the flow of water after the melt. So So all these particles which have been weathered off have been traveling down the slope. So there is good amount of erosion. So there is large amount of silt which has been carried, isn't it? So all this silt has been carried and are settling along the regions of the foothills of Himalayas. I mean, that is specifically across the regions of Assam and all. And that is actually that should be a boon to the state of Assam. Why? There is large amount of fertile, good amount of minerals and good amount of fertile organic matter is coming and settling along the riverbeds of Assam and along the banks of Assam, which helps in improving the fertility of the state of Assam and all. I mean, that's a boon. But even though it is a boon, if it is in excess, what excess? If the amount of water is in excess, that becomes a bane, isn't it? So what is happening? Even though there is large amount of silt, which is a fertile material which is coming, because of excessive water, the entire region of Assam is now inundated, and there is large amount of loss of property, loss of life and all. I mean, this is a topic which is perfectly fitting into this topic of geomorphology. Fine, but because the river water, the flow of rivers, built up of mountains, these are the two topics which are related in, which are talked in geomorphology. But because of this built up, there are few advantages, there are few disadvantages. And because of this erosion and because of this excessive flooding, there is large amount of loss. So where are we going to link this topic? Yes, we're going to link this topic again to the society topic. To the social issues, wherein because of your flooding activity, there is large amount of loss of life and there is large amount of migration of people, isn't it? Loss of life getting into economic geography because there is no proper agricultural activity. So farm fields have been inundated. So loss of good amount of economic activity. And because of loss of economic activity, people start migrating. So which is a social issue. So what does this see? Just because of one small issue, which is a geographical phenomena. It's not a small issue. Because of the one geographical phenomena, or it can be considered to be a disaster. Yes. So because of this small, this issue, you're going to draw the line wherein you can have understanding on the physical geographical part. You can have a very good understanding and link up this to social part. We can also have a good amount of link up to economic part. So the understanding of the subject is not in a one way. It is a multidisciplinary approach wherein you cannot have an approach where, okay, see, someone is talking about River Brahmaputra, what I'm supposed to learn. Okay, where is River Brahmaputra? Where is it getting originated? Where is it flowing? How is it flowing? Is that the way we are supposed to learn? No. See, even though there is, if there is Brahmaputra which is flowing, but as it is flowing, what is the benefit? What is the loss of it? So there are few benefits. There are few negative aspects of it, isn't it? So even though if you talk, if you read in your newspapers and all in the recent past, the people of Assam says that yes, because of Brahmaputra, we got good amount of fertile lands and it's a very good helpful for the state of Assam and all to improvise their agriculture activity. That is your primary resource. But fine. But if the amount of flow of Brahmaputra is in excess, it became a bane. So which is a larger effect now. So our preparation should have an interdisciplinary approach wherein as we are learning about one river, tomorrow as we learn, we are supposed to learn in such a way that a river, where it is flowing, what is the region, as to how it is flowing, what is its carrying capacity, what are the benefits across that region, what are the physical benefits, what are the social benefits, and the economic benefits. And also we are supposed to understand what is the loss in the recent past. That is, what is the, any issue with regard to the recent past, the contemporary issues, the social, economic issues, if at all, if there is a boon or a bane. So you're supposed to link up that answer, link up the topics, contemporary issues into the topic and read it. And also, we are also supposed to talk about environmental issues linking towards that river Brahmaputra. Because, see, River Brahmaputra, as it is flowing, it has got good amount of flora and fauna on its banks, and we have this Kaziranga National Park where your one-horned rhino is there. So last year, because of excessive flooding of River Brahmaputra, what happened? The landmass or the habitat where this one-horned rhino was supposed to live was not been habitable. So they have been compelled, even the animals, the wild animals were compelled to move from their habitat and look for a proper habitable region. And of which, last year in the year 2019, because of this excessive flooding, there was just only 10% of habitat was left during this period of monsoon. There was only just 10% of land which is habitable for this one-horned rhino. The rest of the place was completely inundated. So when we are studying, when we are getting into these topics, we are supposed to have this holistic understanding. So whatever these should be, whatever the topic it be, I've just chosen this River Brahmaputra, which is a recent one, which is in news. So I guess many of you have gone through this news also if you have started preparation and all. So that's the reason. So how many of you got what I'm talking? How many of you are able to understand as to what I'm talking? So the methodology of preparation, it's not just reading about River Brahmaputra, where it's originating, where it is flowing, what are the states. These are all factual data. So, but for our preparation for civils, we should have a holistic understanding. Wherein, what is the benefit? There's the physical aspect. What is the negative aspect of it? And next, social, economic. So the entire thing should be covered in one go. So that's the minimum. That's a basic approach for geography, and not only for geography, for every subject. In a sense. So yes, I'm getting good answers. So Sai Bhaskar is talking about saying that disaster management. Yes. Any more answers? Fine. Let's see, moving further. So I guess you have a very good amount of understanding with regard to the approach of preparation and understanding of the topic. See, before that, as you're starting your preparation, as you're starting this journey of preparation for the subject called geography and all, I want you to read this NCERT books, all these NCERT books, starting from class 6 to 12th, which is very much important. After reading, after doing one reading of this entire NCERTs, take class 11 and 12 again and start your second reading. As you are doing your second reading, try to underline the important words, important lines within this topic, within this books of class 11 and 12, because the NCERT books are very much important in such way that even from your small diagrams which are in NCERTs, even from your small lines which are at the corners, small blocks, blocks of words which are present in NCERTs, that's also an important one, because UPSC is not going to leave all these things. So there are some, few years back, there was a question with regard to, I guess 2 years back, there was a question in your preliminary examination with regard to counter equatorial current. That was not a part of your NCERTs. That was not a part of your NCERT, nor that was not in your GCLEO and all. But in NCERT of class 11, Fundamentals of Physical Geography, there's just a diagram which shows your counter equatorial current diagram. And there is no explanation for that. And you're supposed to learn that learn as to what is counter equatorial current, because he's expecting that you're supposed to learn, because that's in the diagram of your NCERTs. So the importance is, yes, each and every diagram, each and every word, each and every block of NCERTs is must for geography. Specifically, class 11 and 12 is very much important. Okay. So keep it in mind as you start your preparation. And then every day, what you can do is as you are preparing, as you are reading your newspapers, try to keep your atlas aside, and whatever the news which is in the newspapers with regard to any environmental issue or any geographical issue, or it be an international issue. Let's say now, Israel was in news, or Iraq was. I mean, let's say now in the recent past, Chabahar port was in news. Is it? It's in news in the past. It's 2 days back. Also, it was in news. So what we are supposed to learn? Chabahar port, which is present, and it's talking about port. So that should be along the coastline. So if it is across the coastline, across which coast this Chabahar port is there any creek? Is there any gulf across that regions of Chabahar port? And then yes, is there any country which is close by that? I mean, what are the neighboring nations across that Chabahar port? You are supposed to ping in. I mean, you're supposed to mark in your atlas. So that's very important, because see, here's not UPS is not going to ask you about where is Chabahar port, or who is dealing with Chabahar port and construction of Chabahar port and all. It's not going to deal with, specifically in geography. Geography, yes, it's going to ask you: is there any gulf close by Chabahar port? Is there any specific water body? Is there a strait close by Chabahar port, or is there any geographical feature like mountains, plateaus, hills close to Chabahar port? As to what are the neighboring countries with regard to the close to these regions of Chabahar port? Yes, you are supposed to mark it in your atlas. So that's the most important thing for you, for geography as you are preparing. As see, normally we'll not bother about all these things as a person. We just read newspaper. Okay, I got a good amount of information. Okay, so there's some rail project where India has not been getting into this rail projects and all. Okay, with regard to Chabahar port, fine, that's all. But he's not going to talk about all those things specifically. Go with it. If it is Israel, what are the close by regions of Israel? What are the neighboring nations? Is there any water body? What are the countries neighboring to Israel? So these are very important. So that's the reason why having an atlas is very much important. And when you're reading a newspaper, keep aside your atlas thoroughly. Do with your atlas. Mark your areas. And if you are, further, I'll tell you few more tips with regard to this atlas making. Knowing your places and all as we move further. And then India book. See, this is the most important book, India book, wherein every year this is get published. So within this book, with respect to geography, there are only 4 to 5 topics which are very much important. See, I'll just read out few contents. See, like there are topics like agriculture. Is agriculture part of geography? Yes. It's a part of your economic geography, the primary sector. Culture and tourism, yes, it's a part of geography. And you have topics like energy. Is energy a part of your geography? Yes, economic geography, because only when we have energy we can set up an industry, right? So what is this energy? Anything. Mineral fuels, energy resources, environment. So these are the topic which is in India book. You have a few topics like housing and urban affairs. Can we take good amount of understanding about from this housing and urban affairs? I have just shown you a question with regard to urban, what do you call this? Urban mass transport and all. So you can read about this industry. You have topics like transport, water resources, which are all very important in a geographical perspective. So reading this book and reading the entire, I prefer and I suggest to read entire contents from this book, not only few topics of which are related to geography. For your other subject like polity and economy, yes, you are supposed to read this entire book. So for geography, yes, there are a few questions which have been asked in the past where this is very much important for our preparation. See, these are your mains questions. I'm not showing you any objective questions 2019 prelims and all. I'm just giving you a few questions of means. See, assess the impact of global warming on coral life systems with examples. Yeah, please tell me as to in which areas this topic is, if you are aware of it. Assess the impact of global warming on coral life system. Coral lives. Where is this coral lives? I mean, where do we see corals? If you have any idea, just ping in your answer. Corals are the one which are seen in the water bodies, oceans, and all. So it is talking about the assess the impact of global warming on coral life systems. Yes, oceans. So Bhaskar is saying yes, oceans. Yes, Bhaskar. So discuss the next one. Next question. See, discuss the causes of depletion of mangroves. And explain their importance in maintaining coastal ecology. So where do we see mangroves? So mangroves are the one. Have you ever seen mangroves? Again, these are the one which are across close to the coastlines, along the coastlines, where you have this brackish waters. That is, a fresh waters from the rivers joins with ocean waters, the saline waters of oceans. So along the points of confluence, you got to see this good amount of mangroves. Yes, across the coastal areas. So mangroves. So what is the question? Discuss the causes of depletion of mangroves and explain the importance in maintaining the coastal ecology. Yes, Alaknanda, Sundarbans. Sundarbans is the best example. One of the world's largest mangrove belt is in Sundarbans. So discuss the causes of depletion of mangroves and explain their importance in maintaining coastal ecology. So is this mangroves are important for us? Yes, they are playing a major role. So what are the causes of depletion? There are many causes of depletion of mangroves. Let's say now, in the recent past, we got a cyclone across West Bengal. What is a cyclone? Can I get an answer from you? The cyclone which is seen across West Bengal in the recent past? Quick. Come on. Amphan. The recent cyclone across West Bengal. So along the borders of Odisha and West Bengal, it has entered as it has got a landfall across the borders of Odisha and Bengal, and devastated the major regions of West Bengal and even Kolkata and all. So when this Amphan was there, I mean, yes, mangroves played a major role in stopping a large amount of waves or wave action entering into your nearby habitations and all. If at all, if these mangroves were not there, the amount of disaster might be very high. So it has decreased the amount of the percentage of disasters. That was older one. I was just talking about a recent one, Alaknanda. Funny was an older one. So again, this is a topic which is again with related to geography, specifically a physical geography, in where you are talking about this will be dealt in the regions of oceanography as well as an extension of oceanography called biosphere and all. So it's a interlink of both environmental geography and environmental studies and geography, because environmental studies is just a sister subject of geography. Next, can the strategy of regional resources based manufacturing help in promoting employment in India? See, can the strategy of regional resource based manufacturing help in promoting employment in India? So it is talking about regional resource based. So what is this regional resource? In a specific region, you have a specific resource. So you're not supposed to make sure that this resource is being transferred to another region. You're supposed to have a manufacturing unit or a plant, an industry, to make use of that resource to make into a finished product. When you can have a strategy so that all the regional resources are been across the specified regions where you have a good amount of manufacturing and all across that specific region. It is trying to promote good amount of employment in India. It is talking about this strategy. Can the strategy of regional resource based see, there is another strategy where all these resources have been transported to the nearby market, and then they're trying to have an industry, and then they're trying to put this finished good into the market. See, is it market based, or it should be resource based? So it's asking you, can the strategy of regional resource based manufacturing help in promoting employment in India? You're supposed to write yes or no for that. So if yes, what? If no, what? Isn't it? Next, discuss the factors for localization of agro-based food processing industry of Northwest India. Discuss the factors for localization of agro-based food processing industries of Northwest India. Can I get an answer from you as to which regions are your Northwestern Indian regions, states of Northwest India? What are the states of Northwest India? The states like Punjab, Haryana, Delhi, Western Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Gujarat. So these are all Northwestern India. So he's talking about, it is asking you to discuss the factors. So you're supposed to discuss in detail the factors for the localization of agro-based food processing industry. What is agro-based? Any industry which is based on agricultural activities. So for the localization of agro-based processing industries of Northwest India. So this is a part of your economic geography, Indian economic geography in specific. And next, what is water stress? Are we facing this water stress in the recent past? I mean, are we stressed by the availability of water in the recent past? So first of all, let's ask as a question. See, he's asking you, what is water stress? Stress. So have you ever felt the stress of water? Availability of water and all? Yes. Most of us across different parts of your country or across these regions, we find the stress. And how and why does it differ regionally? So how and why does it differ regionally? Can I get an answer from you? As to why? Yeah, water scarcity. Very true. Why do we have that water scarcity? I mean, why has it been differentiated regionally? Why? See, how and why does it differ regionally in India? So why does it differ regionally in India? Yeah, Chennai, it's because of your large amount of urban agglomeration. It's one of the reason. See, there are few regions across Uttar Pradesh or even in Telangana where the amount of population or the amount of habitation is even less. But even then, the availability of the water is less. Why? Because the groundwater table is very less. It is with regard to the groundwater table. Not only the availability, yes, there is water stress. It is not only with regard to the urban agglomeration, and not only in Hyderabad or not only in Chennai or whatever it be. It is also seen across few villages. Why? One is because of groundwater table, and the other one is with regard to the climatical conditions. See, there are few years where the amount of rainfall might be very less. So whenever the amount of rainfall is less, you may not receive good amount of water into the ground. I mean, lack of rains. So that is a climatical phenomena. The atmospherical changes which has happened led to stress of water, isn't it? So water stress is there. And what is water stress? The non-availability or less availability of water for human living and all, for the living conditions and all, is water stress. But fine, how does it and how and why does it differ regionally? So that is differing regionally because of the type of landform, type of the rock structure, the groundwater table and all. It is differing because of your climatical conditions prevailing across the region. It is differing because of your urban agglomerations and the amount of population residing in per square area. See, depending on the density of the population, it also differs, isn't it? See, let's say now in a small per square area, if the amount of population is almost 1,000 and above, so the amount of availability of water for one person is very less. Let's say now in one square area, if there are only 10 people, the availability of the water is good. So it is because of your yes. Yeah, masonry structures, that's across the regions of urban areas. So yes, a good point. Saibaska groundwater is low, and even population is playing a role. Yes, and the people residing across per square area, the population density. Yes. So that is differing regionally, and that is because of different factors. So we are supposed to comprehend all these factors into one answer, and you're supposed to see when you're trying to how if he is asking you giving saying that how and why does it differ regionally, you got a very good chance. Wherein, come on, you can take each and every part. One, as I discussed, one is climatical factor, one is groundwater table, that is the type of rock and all. The other one is because of the population density and all. So for each and every topic, as we are going to discuss, you can also give good amount of examples as case studies in this answer. See, this is your chance, and that too, your question is asking for about 250 words, a pretty lengthy answer, not something like your 150 words and all. So when you have a chance for 250 words answer, you got a chance where in one line for each and everything, why does it differ regionally? In one line, you can just give a few case studies, and by picking good amount of few case studies from your newspaper, the current affairs is playing a role in such a way, isn't it? So as you're writing these answers, see, the beauty of this subjects in UPS is, even though you are very much good in your static knowledge, if you are not able to give good amount of importance by joining this current affairs, if you are lagging in current affairs, that's an utter waste. So what we are supposed to have is a very good amount of stronghold, both in your static topics as well as in your current affairs topics. So when you can have a very good amount of case study which is attached to your answer, your examiner as he's trying to read your answers, is very much clear that yes, there's a person who is very much well updated and to the point. So you are supposed to impress your evaluator, right? You cannot write just a small an answer which is static, something like a academician. See, this is why, what is water stress, how and why does it differ regionally? You can write it as a static answer as an academician, as what we have discussed. Yes, that is going to differ because of climatical factors, lack of rainfall, proper amount of groundwater is not available over there because of lack of proper rock structures, which is not feasible where there is no proper percolation of waters and all. And the availability is also because dependent on the amount of population, where there is large amount of masonry across your urban areas, so there is no seepage of waters and all. This is an academic answer. So once you write this answer, apart from that, for each and every point which you have put in, if you can have a current topic relating it and giving it in a one line, that will define your answer, and that will define your whether you're going to into your interview stage or not. So just 1 or 2 marks is going to define your entire score, right? And for all these things, see, whether it be global warming on coral life system, depletion of mangroves, regional resource-based manufacturing helping in promoting employment in India, due to discuss the factors for localization of agro-based industries. See, all these questions, do they have any case studies which are related to current news, contemporary issues? Yes, they do. They do. So all these questions have a very good amount of base, padding with contemporary issues. You can pad up with good contemporary issues for all these questions. So that's how you are supposed to make sure your answers becomes into a beautiful, proper answer. You can beautify that answer, and you can impress your evaluator. We are not an academicians, right? If you're an academician, you can write in just in an academic orientation. Oh, oh. Am I audible now? Okay, am I audible now? Okay, thank you, thank you. Audible now, sir. Yeah. Yeah, Geeta Sagar. I got a saying that yes, lack of aquifer. Aquifer. What is an aquifer? A region where water is stored. The groundwater, entire region where your entire water has been stored within the ground is considered to be an aquifer. So you can put your answers now. I mean questions. No more doubts. Okay, fine. See, as I'm trying to end this, so from Monday, yeah, from Monday I'm going to start a new complete module of geography. So whoever are interested, you can just ping me on this number which is seen, so that I'll send you the link. And the fee is just 3,500 rupees, wherein we'll be having a 2 hours of session every day, which includes both contemporary issues as well as your static issues. And see, uh, every day you'll be having a chance to practice good amount of map work and doing with your contemporary issues as well. And I also talk about good amount of NCRTs. I mean, we'll be completing few NCRT books which are related to 11th and 12th also. And then the sessions are for about 45 days. From now on, that is from Monday, we'll be having a 45 sessions, not 45 days, 45 sessions per week. We'll be having 5 to 6 sessions per week. So that will be of 90 hours, detailedly complete both for prelims and mains. I'll be discussing about this entire subject in detail. And there were some questions which related to, yeah, Vinith is asking me, is writing Majid Hussain geography is compulsory? See, Vinith, yeah, reading Majid Hussain is an extra additional one. If you have time, yes, I recommend you to go through it. But reading NCRTs and reading the books, the other textbooks which I've asked you to read, these are the must. So only after reading these books, if you find time, if you have an extra time and all, yes, you can go through the top book of Majid Hussain. But I don't suggest you to go through that Majid Hussain only. So first and foremost, read NCRTs, then read GC Leong, follow your atlas, complete your readings from your India book and all. And even then, if you still find good amount of time, if you can find good amount of time, then you can read. That's for one reading as a revision. I mean, that will be a book for your revision. I mean, for revision, that is very good, but not for your basic understanding. Okay. Okay. So Manasa, I guess this is a problem with you. I guess. I mean, if you are able to hear me, but just check, please. Please check it. And see, daily we are going to practice good amount of MCQs as well in this session. I mean, for at least 5 to 10 questions of the topic, We'll be practicing it on live. I mean, during this period, we cannot have a hard copy to practice and all. We can have a virtual class and we can discuss few questions also. And then moving furthermore, I'll be taking a optional class later on, and from 28th of July. We'll be starting with optional. If you are interested in optional geography, you're most welcome. And this is also a complete holistic understanding with contemporary issues and all. Acha, I just forgot to tell you, for your geography, again not audible. Oh, is it so? I guess I see this voice which is there. See, for geography, you can also attach reading this book called Yojana magazine. My dear, see, this Yojana is very important. I just forgot to tell you. Yojana is a book that's published by the government of India itself, from the Press Trust of India and all, publication from the publication division. At least in a month, read 1 to 2 topics, 1 or 2 topics from Yojana. See, it's something like this. In January 2017, there was a topic in Yojana with regard to Sendai agreement. I mean, with regard to housing for all. And in 2018 mains, there was a question with regard to Sendai agreement. So it's almost 1.5 years. But UPS is not going to leave. I mean, as a person, as a student, you're supposed to have a minimum of 2 years of contemporary issues. If you are, let's say now, this is 2020, if you are trying to give your attempt in 2021, from now on, at least from 2020, June or July or May or January, you are supposed to have good amount of collection of contemporary issues. And we should be in that process of collecting good amount of contemporary issues and making them into one small notes and preparing them. And once we are into the sessions, I'll be discussing as to how to prepare notes for newspaper, what are the important issues of day-to-day important issues of newspapers and all also. So that will be dealt separately within the sessions itself. Okay. So no more doubts. Can we end the session? Okay, bye for now. Thank you very much. See you. And I'll be having, we'll be taking this YouTube classes very often. So from now on. Thank you. Bye bye.